Since no sinful human could stand in God's presence, the angels communicated the terms of God's covenant to Moses, who in turn passed the law to the Israelites. How y'all doing? Happy now. Been doing a little research, finding out that basically Moses, Israelites, all this were following orders from fallen angels who they believe were God's. Or let me say they believed that they were getting the righteous message from the real supreme architect, but it was actually fallen angels who they were getting their directions from. And a lot of this ties into, matter of fact, stuff like this 6 and 7 book of Moses, where I could show you some images. Let's see. Like, like these are different little spells and stuff. The Elohim, like all those things. Matter of fact, and how the Star of David is like 60 degrees in each corner. So it ended up making like, the number 666. 666 is, the molecule for all life as far as like being a human, you know what I'm saying? And it's tied to Lucifer. And I always tell people too, ain't one of them things where it's like, oh, just by the sense of talking about it, it's the devil. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why I'm actually still reading the books, you know what I'm saying? Because it's always good to learn, you know what I'm saying? And understand things, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, if I took a biased eye to it, then I wouldn't be getting all the knowledge, because I wouldn't be understanding what was going on in that situation, just by shunning it just because the devil is involved, I want to find out what's right and what's real. But I just been finding out things about how Moses practiced magic. Like, this is the book basically telling you about the different seals and tables, basically spells that Moses used to help get the other Hebrews out of Egypt, like with his magic, like from turning his staff into a snake and parting the Red Sea. Those all were magic spells, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, passed down from Lucifer, you know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'm saying in theory, for now. I'm feeling like it's real, it's starting to be real. I've been researching, reading a lot of stuff, and watching a lot of documentaries. But say, for instance, like I say, how some of the God's words were passed down by angels to Moses, you know what I'm saying? That kind of shows where, where the fallen angels could have stepped in and, made things confusing or messed things up. Because matter of fact, Lucifer did it with Adam and Eve, by showing them duality, good and evil and stuff, and messing up the perfectness. Because it is other signs of Lucifer, being tied into Moses' message. Matter of fact, even getting passed down to King Solomon. And we all know, even though King Solomon was the all-wise, and I say although, like being the all-wise, you know what I'm saying, it does come with, say for instance, just like how I'm reading on these books, you know what I'm saying, you gotta learn and stop that urge from dealing with demonic things, you know what I'm saying. And basically Solomon had different spells and stuff. Matter of fact, I've been learning too that everything with the Hebrews, with the 1%ers, like Lucifer being enlightened, the Masons, like also has to do with Saturn. Like it's some type of thing that's dealing with Saturn in a matrix, Like if you pay attention to a lot of things, even the Pope wears a red hat that's kind of representing Saturn. Like it's something about Saturn, and I'm looking at this key of Solomon, and it has like different little rules for summoning demons and stuff. And I just saw one where it was like the 6th pinnacle of Saturn. Around this pinnacle is each name symbolized as it should be. The person against whom thou shalt pronounce it shall be obsessed by demons. So basically, if you recite somebody's name while dealing with this pinnacle, in which the pinnacles are these different little signs, with Hebrew writings on them. Key of Solomon. And on the next verse, it was like, it is formed from mystical characters of Saturn. You know, so this black magic is dealing with Saturn, and it's something about Lucifer, you know, with the popes, the one percenters, like Saturn, like Hebrews is all tied. It's all tied in with the same thing. Magic, you know, but it is formed from mystical characters of Saturn. Around it is written in Hebrew, "Set thou a wicked one to be ruler over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand." So basically, it's a spell to, like, say for instance, if I want to make a demon possess somebody, you know, it would make them wicked, and have like a wicked, not only a wicked demon over them, but even Satan would be right there making sure it's even more wicked, you know. But just things like that. And my thing is, like, you know, why would something divine, you know, even want to, you know, deal with that? That's why I say a lot of the Old Testament is believed to be, you know, the Elohim, the Anunnaki, you know what I'm saying, Lucifer, like those were the front runners for, like, giving things like some of the laws that they passed down to Moses, which were laws basically considered curses, but like how to beat slaves, like, you know what I'm saying, and selling your daughter. Matter of fact, like in Exodus 21 verse 6, like they talk about how, like, that's kind of where the origin of wedding rings come from. They used to nail rings and put a nail in a woman's ear and put a ring in it. You know, that's how they would, you know, when they would give off or sell their daughter into marriage and stuff like that. You know, that was one of the things they used. And it just kind of adds up that, and I always used to think that, I'm like, man, the Old Testament got some shady laws. Like, I just straight up, I'm like, man, that's not divine. Like, that's not unconditional love to stone somebody. That they even had one thing where a ox or a bull could kill. Like, if a bull were having to kill or gore someone, you know, a slave, that it'll be okay. The bull will get stoned, but not killed. Like, it's funny. It's like, save the bull, or, you know, just beat him up a little bit. But we could let our slaves die. We could beat the slaves to death. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what it says in a lot of Exodus, you know, basically in the laws, you know, that got passed down. Like I said, got passed down through angels, you know, which were fallen angels, Anunnaki, Lucifer. But there's a lot of darkness, you know, that's into it, in which I don't know if Moses. Now, I know King Solomon. I think when it got down to King Solomon, I don't think he was as naive to, you know, who he was listening to. But, like, I think Moses probably, you know, wasn't sure if he was really getting, you know, the supreme architect's message or not. You know, maybe he thought he was, but not knowing that it was the Anunnaki and Lucifer, you know, letting them know these things. Because, man,